Hey, welcome to a new video. Castellfollit de la Roca sits spectacularly atop a narrow basalt cliff over 164 feet or 50 meters high and nearly 3,281 feet or 1 kilometer long. It's one of the most impressive and daring villages in Catalonia. The cliff was formed by two overlapping lava flows, gradually eroded over thousands of years by the Fluvia and Torinel rivers. The village has medieval roots, clearly visible in its narrow alleys and stone houses, some of which stand dangerously close to the edge. At its narrowest point, the village is only 2 houses wide, highlighting the fragile balance between human settlement and the abyss below. One striking landmark is the 13th century church of San Salvador, standing like a sentinel on the cliff's edge. Despite damage from earthquakes in the 15th century, the village has preserved its historic charm. Today, Castellfollit de la Roca symbolizes resilience and architectural ingenuity, attracting photographers and travelers with a taste for dramatic views and a touch of vertigo.
Are you new to this channel? Make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And before we start, also like the video.
Perched on the edge of a deep gorge, carved by the Huecar River, are the iconic Casas Colgadas, the hanging houses of Cuenca. They're among the boldest and most recognizable examples of Spanish architecture. Cuenca, located in Castilla-La Mancha, is a UNESCO World Heritage City. The exact origins of these houses remain somewhat mysterious, though they've been mentioned in documents since the 15th century. Once, many more houses lined the cliffs, but only a few have withstood the test of time. The most famous are 3 houses with wooden balconies that literally dangle over the abyss, offering breathtaking views of the gorge below. Over the years, they've been restored several times, most notably in the 1920s, to preserve them. Featuring Gothic architecture with stone walls and protruding wooden balconies, these homes are built directly into the rock face, supported by beams and brackets that allow them to jut out over the edge. This wasn't just for aesthetics. It was a practical solution to space shortages inside the city's defensive walls. The best view of these floating gems is from the San Pablo Bridge, a pedestrian iron bridge built in 1902. At a dizzying altitude of 13,133 feet, or 4,003 meters on the northeast Hornley route of the Matterhorn, lies the Solvay Hut, the highest mountain shelter of the Swiss Alpine Club. These simple shelters are meant strictly for emergencies, offering crucial refuge to climbers facing storms or exhaustion. Built in 1915 and funded by a 20,000 Swiss franc donation from Belgian chemist Ernest Solvay, the materials were transported by animals to the Hornley Hut at about 2 miles or 3,260 meters, then hoisted via a temporary cable lift. Amazingly, the hut was completed in just 5 days. It lies along the standard route to the summit, about 1,559 feet or 475 meters below the peak. Though officially for emergencies, many climbers pause here briefly to catch their breath and admire the alpine views. On the Italian side of the mountain, at 12,565 feet, or 3,830 meters along the Lion Ridge, stands the refuge Jean-Antoine Carrel. Named after the first climber to conquer this route in 1865, the hut opened in 1969 and accommodates up to 50 people. It was partially rebuilt in 2002 to 2003 after severe landslides. Rising roughly 131 feet or 40 meters above the ground, the Katskhi Pillar is a limestone monolith in Georgia's Emirati region, near the village of Katskhi. This bizarre stone column has been a site of Christian devotion and seclusion for centuries. The first monks likely settled here in the 9th or 10th century, building a small church and monastic cells on top of the pillar in line with the stylite tradition, where hermits lived atop pillars to be closer to God. After the 13th century, the site was largely forgotten until it was documented by Prince Vakushti in the 18th century. The first modern ascent took place in 1944. In 1993, monk Maxim Kavtaradze began restoring the site and eventually took up residence atop the pillar himself. Using a 131 feet or 40-meter ladder, he would climb up and down just a few times a week to pray with visitors. With the help of local villagers and heritage groups, the church was restored in 2009. Today, the summit hosts a church, crypt, 3 monastic cells, a wine cellar, and a small wall. Though whether wine storage on a 131 feet or 40-meter cliff is truly a good idea remains up for debate. Deep in a remote tropical forest, a group of skilled builders from the YouTube channel Building Skill launched a breathtaking project, a 39 feet or 12-meter high bamboo treehouse, complete with a swimming pool and multiple levels. What began with selecting a sturdy tree as a foundation evolved into a showcase of sustainability, craftsmanship, and harmony with nature. The entire structure was built by hand. No heavy machinery or modern tools involved. They used traditional joinery methods like mortise and tenon joints for strength without nails, and natural fibers to tie bamboo segments together securely yet flexibly. Thanks to cleverly placed openings and smart positioning of bamboo strips, the design allows for natural airflow, eliminating the need for air conditioning. The result is a rustic yet luxurious treehouse that blends ancient techniques with modern comfort. Overlooking a sea of green canopy and featuring an elevated pool, it's not just a technical marvel, it's a dream hideaway. Towering roughly 656 feet, or 200 meters above the Antiochian landscape in Colombia, El Peñón de Guatapé, also known as La Piedra del Peñol, is a colossal granite monolith and iconic natural wonder. It offers breathtaking views of the surrounding Embalse Peñol Guatapé Reservoir. The rock is part of the Antioquia batholith, a granite formation that has withstood millions of years of erosion. While the surrounding softer rocks wore away, this massive Inselberg remained standing strong. Visitors can climb to the top via a staircase built into a natural crevice along the side of the rock, 708 steps in total, leading to a 3-story viewing platform, complete with a small shop and seating areas. The climb is challenging, but the sweeping views of the shimmering blue lake and lush green hills are more than worth the effort. The reservoir itself was formed in the 1970s when a valley was flooded for a hydroelectric project. The rock was once sacred to the indigenous Tahami people, who called it Mohara or Mujara. Perched on a staggering 2,625 feet, or 800-meter cliff in China's Sichuan province, lies the village of Atulier, also known as Cliff Village. For generations, around 72 families of the Yi ethnic minority lived here, completely cut off from the outside world. Children and adults alike had to climb treacherous vine ladders and rickety wooden structures to get to school or run errands. In 2016, viral footage of these dangerous climbs shocked the world. The local government intervened, building a sturdy steel staircase with 2,556 steps, a project that cost over 1 million yuan or $139,000, making access to the village significantly safer. In 2020, the Chinese government launched a relocation program as part of poverty alleviation efforts. 84 families moved into new apartment buildings in the city of Zhaozhui, about 44 miles or 70 kilometers away. However, some residents chose to keep their homes and turn them into tourist lodgings, cleverly capitalizing on the village's sudden global fame. Atop Mount Shiroyama in Japan's Hyogo Prefecture lie the haunting remains of Takeda Castle. Sitting at an altitude of 1,158 feet, or 353 meters, this castle in the sky, also known as the Machu Picchu of Japan, offers panoramic views of the valley and a journey back to the 15th century. It was built between 1441 and 1443 by Yamanaso Zen, a powerful warlord during the Muromachi period. The site was strategically chosen for its vantage point over key trade routes and proximity to the valuable Ikono silver mine. During the turbulent Sengoku period, the castle changed hands many times. In 1577, it was captured by Hashiba Hidanaga, brother of the famed Toyotomi Hideyoshi, during Japan's unification campaign. Later, it came under the command of Akamatsu Hirohide, who took his own life in 1600 after being accused of arson during the siege of Tottori. Although abandoned and stripped of its wooden structures, the stone foundations and walls remain remarkably intact, spanning 1,312 feet, or 400 meters north to south, and 328 feet, or 100 meters east to west. The ruins are especially magical in autumn. From late September to early December, morning mist fills the valley, making the castle appear to float in a sea of clouds. Across Vietnam's varied landscapes, from the wet Mekong Delta to the mountainous northern regions, stilt houses have been a clever and cultural architectural solution for centuries. Elevated on wooden or bamboo poles, these homes protect residents from floods, wild animals, and the humid tropical climate. Built using local materials like wood, bamboo, rattan, and palm leaves, the elevation can range from 3 to 13 feet, or 1 to 4 meters, depending on the environment. In the Mekong Delta, houses are especially high to remain above water levels during the rainy season. The space underneath provides ventilation and natural cooling. In some ethnic communities, such as the Tay and Thai, towering Rong community houses can reach heights of up to 98 feet or 30 meters, and serve as communal halls for rituals and gatherings. Villages like Lam Thuong attract tourists eager to experience life in these traditional dwellings firsthand. Seemingly carved into the cliffs of Monte Baldo, the Santuario Madonna della Corona clings dramatically to a sheer rock face, standing 2,540 feet or 774 meters above sea level. This Italian pilgrimage site offers a heavenly view of the Adige Valley and feels like a sacred sanctuary suspended in the sky. Around the year 1000, hermits from the Abbey of San Zeno began meditating and praying here. In the 13th century, a chapel dedicated to the Holy Mary of Monte Baldo was built, accessible via a perilous mountain path. In 1437, the site came under the care of the Knights of St. John, also known as the Knights of Rhodes. Between 1490 and 1521, the modest chapel was expanded into a larger church. Its neo-Gothic facade, adorned with statues of John the Evangelist and Mary Magdalene, was designed by sculptor Ugo Zanoni. Inside, visitors will find a Baroque altar featuring the revered statue of Our Lady of the Crown. Today, the sanctuary remains a place of peace, reflection, and spiritual devotion for pilgrims and quiet travelers alike.
We start with a house that looks like a spaceship and is literally built on a volcano hill. It probably already sounds very unlikely when you say it out loud, but don't judge it too quickly. This is a real house with 2 bedrooms and 2 bathrooms. The 2-story house even has a garage. The price tag for this is about 600,000 euros.
Clinging to a steep cliff in Bhutan's lush Paro Valley, the breathtaking Tiger's Nest Monastery, officially called Parotaktsang, sits at an altitude of about 10,200 feet, or 3,120 meters above sea level. According to legend, Guru Padmasambhava arrived here in the 8th century on the back of a flying tigress to defeat a demon. He meditated for 3 months in a cave, thereby introducing Buddhism to Bhutan. The current monastery was built around this sacred cave in 1692 as a place of prayer and reflection. The complex features 4 main temples and several smaller buildings, all interconnected by stairs and bridges. Perched against a granite cliff, the structures appear to cling to the rock face itself. To reach the Tiger's Nest, visitors must undertake a challenging but unforgettable 4-mile or 6.4-kilometer round-trip hike, with an elevation gain of 1,706 feet or 520 meters. The trek takes around 5 to 7 hours, including time spent at the monastery. Along the way, hikers pass through fragrant pine forests, colorful prayer flags, and a rest stop with a cafe halfway up, making the journey a truly magical experience you'll never forget.
The next house probably reminds you of something out of a fairy tale. But Takusagyan is a tea house and it's built on the tops of 2 chestnut trees near a mountain. If you want to enter this house, it's not that easy. In fact, you have to use the freestanding ladders that lean against one of the trees. Pretty awkward and a little dangerous, don't you think? Do you dare deviate from the typical houses and stay in a home that is older than the United States? Look no further than the Montezuma Canyon House, located in the southwestern part of Utah. Montezuma Canyon is named after the Aztec Emperor Montezuma. Early Spanish explorers believed that he had hidden treasures somewhere in that region. It's a place steeped in history, mystery, and natural beauty. This incredible house is about 700 years old and was carved out of the cliff rocks by the ancestral Pueblo people. Imagine waking up in one of the 20 rooms that have stood the test of time for centuries. In addition, modern amenities such as a full kitchen and bathroom have been added to make your stay more comfortable. But reaching the Montezuma Canyon house is not easy. Visitors can opt for a steep hike or rent a quad to reach the remote location. But trust us, the stunning views make it all worthwhile. The next house is from another iconic movie. If you've seen the cartoon Up, you probably remember this balloon house. This house was also made in real life, and you can see it near Los Angeles. This house weighs about 900 kilograms, and it's 5 meters by 5 meters in size. Each balloon that was inflated allowed them to lift the house into the air. In 1 hour, the house rose to an altitude of almost 3,000 meters. Pretty cool.
In the highlands of El Alto, Bolivia, colorful homes teeter on the edge of a 197 feet or 60-meter deep ravine. These self-built structures, often made of wood and corrugated metal, look fragile and on the verge of collapse. But to their inhabitants, they represent far more than just shelter. These are sacred spaces where Aymara shamans, known as Yatiras or Amotas, perform rituals to honor Pachamama or Mother Earth. This place, so close to the sky, is considered holy and powerful, despite government warnings and increasing risks from climate change, such as erosion and structural collapse due to heavy rainfall. Many refuse to leave. For them, this land is not just a home, but a deeply rooted connection to their ancestors and cultural identity. While El Alto's position above La Paz offers dramatic views, it also brings great challenges. Still, these residents cling to their traditions, even as the ground beneath their feet becomes increasingly unstable.
Can you imagine living on a mountain? And not in a cave, but a modern house built into a rock? This house is located in Canada and was designed for a specific client. It has 4 floors and a large number of spaces. For example, there's a floor for the grandparents of the family, and one for the parents, and 2 more floors to create a sports room, among other things. This house must have cost a lot of money. Nestled in the heart of the Greek Garania Mountains, surrounded by 600 olive trees, is a house that seemingly blends into nature. This beautiful minimalist concrete structure is inspired by the Pythagorean theorem and designed by architect Telemakos Andrianopoulos. The owner specifically chose this location to escape their office lives and immerse themselves in the tranquility of nature. The house is built on a hilly piece of land, and there is a courtyard in the center that divides the sleeping and living quarters. The larger block contains an open living and dining area with a breathtaking view of the mountains. Glass sliding doors connect the interior with the protected garden spaces, while small lights in the wall illuminate the facade at night. This is a perfect example of creative architecture that harmonizes with nature. The Invisible Mirror Desert House is located in the middle of the rocks of the California desert. This house is made entirely of mirrors and was built for a movie producer. You can rent the house for a photo shoot, film shoots, or other events. The over 500 meter square house was designed as one big space and will also find a large indoor pool.
In the heart of Madrid stand 2 remarkable skyscrapers leaning toward each other. The Puerta de Europa, also known as the KIO Towers. Designed by American architects Philip Johnson and John Burgee, the towers were constructed between 1989 and 1996. Each tower stands 374 feet, or 114 meters tall, with 26 floors, and tilts inward at a dramatic 15-degree angle, making them the world's first inclined skyscrapers. The towers have appeared in several films and shows, including The Day of the Beast of 1995, which features a climactic scene atop one of the still unfinished buildings. A striking engineering feature is the 14,400-ton underground concrete counterweight, connected to the top by steel cables to keep the towers balanced. The towers also have symbolic significance. Flanking the northern entrance to Madrid via the Paseo de la Castellana, they form a dramatic gateway to the city.
Imagine having a 2-story house that you can take anywhere. This is a floating home and is something between a yacht and a luxury mansion. This house is currently in Miami, Florida, and you can buy it for about 5 million euros. It has 4 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, and plenty of indoor and outdoor space. This floating house is about 25 meters long, and it can even sail the ocean. Standing at over 95 feet, or 29 meters tall, and consisting of 11 stories, this is the ultimate treehouse, but the story behind it is even more interesting. This treehouse, located in Crossville, Tennessee, is a true wonder of modern engineering. It was built by Pastor Horace Burgess after he reportedly received a message from God asking him to do so. The man took this divine command seriously and spent over a decade building the treehouse using recycled materials. Despite its impressive size, the treehouse is not without its quirks. Some visitors have reported that it can be a bit wobbly, adding to the feeling of adventure and excitement. And while it might not be the most luxurious accommodation, it's certainly one of the most unique. Would you want to live here? It seems that many people like to live on the edge between land and sea. This is a strange house built on a cliff, and is a good example of that. In fact, it's very extreme and very unique in that respect. Casa Portel stands wall to wall in the water. It's literally built in between cliffs above the Aegean Sea near Greece. If you're in the house and look up, it seems like you're underwater. If you live here, I hope you don't have a fear of water.
Perched on a solitary rock in the middle of the Drina River near Bajina Bashta in Serbia sits a tiny wooden house that looks like it could float away at any moment. In the summer of 1968, a group of young swimmers used the river rock as a resting spot. They hauled planks of wood to build a cozy shelter, eventually inspiring the idea for a full-blown cabin. A year later, brothers Milija and Milan Mandic, with help from friends, constructed a simple hut using materials transported by boat and kayak. Over the years, the house has been destroyed multiple times by floods. but each time it was lovingly rebuilt by the local community. The current version, built in 2011, was reinforced to better withstand the river's power. When National Geographic named a photo of the house its photo of the day in 2012, it gained worldwide attention. Today, it's a beloved symbol of resilience and tranquility, and a favorite subject for photographers. Even international outlets like Reuters and the BBC have featured this unique floating marvel.
Glass and geodesic dome houses are some of the most interesting and innovative types of houses out there. They use unique materials and have quickly become popular among people looking for sustainable and eco-friendly housing options. A fascinating example is the mud house built inside a geodesic dome in the Arctic Circle. These houses showcase how alternative building practices can provide warmth and comfort even in extremely cold environments. Believe it or not, glass and geodesic domes can also be surprisingly affordable to build. They don't require extensive foundations or framing and can be often built using recycled or salvaged materials. Another unique feature is their energy efficiency. The round dome-shaped design provides natural airflow and temperature control, which can drastically reduce heating and cooling costs. Additionally, the use of sustainable materials and solar panels can help make these homes even more eco-friendly.
Would you like to live in a real cave? Then one like this seems quite suitable for that, because you can live in this cave in a modern way. Before this cave became a habitable house, it was a mine under a forest. Then it was converted into a glass recycling center. After this closed, it went on sale. The couple Kurt and Deborah from Missouri in the United States fell in love with this place, and together they transformed it into a livable cave home. That must have been quite a renovation. In the Osdorp district of Amsterdam, the Wozoco apartments stand as a bold architectural statement, designed by Dutch firm MVRDV. The goal? Build 100 apartments for senior citizens in a green, low-rise neighborhood. The challenge? Strict regulations on sunlight and space allowed only 87 units to be built on the ground level. The solution? MVRDV devised a radical idea. Suspend the remaining 13 apartments off the building's north side, cantilevered up to 33 feet or 10 meters outward. This preserved green space while giving all residents access to daylight. The result is a spectacular structure with protruding blocks that seem to float in midair. Inside, the apartments feature playful, varied layouts with diverse floor plans, windows, and balconies. A true example of Dutch ingenuity and creativity, the building's dynamic, lively appearance earned MVRDV the prestigious Merkelbach Prize in 1997, recognizing it as a milestone in modern Dutch architecture. Usually a house is built on a fixed spot, but this man named Liu Ling Chao has been carrying his house around with him for over 5 years. This man is from China and built the house from bamboo sticks and plastic sheeting. As a profession, he sells recyclable drinking bottles, and wherever he goes, he always takes his house with him on his back.
Between the towns of Celorico de Basto and Fafe in Portugal, there lie a boulder that had been lying on the side of the hill for 1,000 years. Guilherme Pires, a local man, had a vision to create something unique by incorporating the boulder into a house design. He collaborated with architect Rui Vieira Oliveira, and together they created a beautiful house with the boulder as its foundation. The boulder has also served as a natural barrier, providing insulation against the hot sun and cold wind. The house was built into the hill and had a green roof that blended in with the landscape. Inside, the living spaces are light and modern, with large windows that offer stunning views of the surrounding countryside. The boulder also serves as the foundation for the walls and ceilings of the house. Today, it has become a popular tourist attraction, with people from all over the world coming to admire the unique style and design. It's an excellent example of how architecture can work with nature to create something extraordinary. The house has also been designated as a monument, and if you want to visit, you'll need to travel to northern Portugal.
Forget all the houses you've seen so far, because just one picture of this house will surely make your heart beat faster. This house is built at the bottom of a cliff, and as such, it looks extremely dangerous. Unfortunately though, it turned out that the photo that went viral on social media was a digital Photoshop to advertise concrete glue. But what would it be like if this house was real? Would you want to live there? On the northeastern edge of the Vestmannaeyjar archipelago off Iceland's southern coast lies the rugged remote island of Elliday, covering just 500 square yards or half a square kilometer. Nestled between grassy slopes and steep cliffs sits a single white house. Built in 1953 by the Elliday Hunting Association, the cabin was meant to shelter puffin hunters. The island is known for its large puffin population, making it popular among both hunters and researchers. While the house has no electricity or running water, it does have a rainwater collection system and, naturally, a traditional sauna. Because what's more Scandinavian than that? Inside, you'll find wooden paneling, leather chairs, artwork of explorers, and Scandinavian landscapes. Sleeping quarters include simple beds spread across 2 rooms. Due to its isolation and lack of docking points, the island is difficult to reach. You have to cross rough seas by boat and then climb steep rocks. Still, adventurers brave the journey and often share their incredible experiences online.
Ready to bring the future to the present? Look no further than the Chemosphere House, better known as the Jetsons House. This unique house, designed by John Latner in 1960, sits on an almost 30 feet or 9-meter high concrete pedestal and offers breathtaking views of the San Fernando Valley in California. The round design of the house, huge windows, and futuristic aesthetic make it truly unique. But don't let the appearance of this house fool you, it's also a marvel of engineering. The innovative design of the house ensures that it can withstand extreme weather conditions, such as earthquakes and high winds. It's a true tribute to Latner's progressive approach to architecture. Despite initial skepticism and controversy, the Jetsons House has become a beloved landmark and has even been used as a location for numerous pop culture references. It was even used as a location for the 1985 film Body Double.
This is the Egg House, located in China. This insanely tiny house is only 2 meters high. It's said to be waterproof and has good insulation. He covered the roof with grass seeds, whose seeds began to sprout in the spring. He also has a solar panel that provides power, and a handful of electrical appliances inside. Clinging to a steep mountainside in the remote Lungnak Valley of Ladakh, India, the Phugtal Monastery, also known as Phugtal Gompa, appears to grow straight out of the rock. Built around a natural cave, it hangs like a honeycomb over the Sarup River. The name Phugtal comes from the Zanskari words Phuk and Tal, meaning cave of peace or liberation, a nod to the spiritual stillness that reigns here. Founded in the 15th century by Jangsim Sherap Zangpo, a disciple of Je Tsongkhapa, the founder of the Gelug school of Tibetan Buddhism, the cave itself has been a sacred site for over 2,500 years. Legends say even the 16 Arhats, early disciples of Buddha, once visited. For centuries, the monastery was only reachable by foot, with donkeys and mules carrying supplies, sometimes even across the frozen Zanskar River in winter. A road now reaches the nearby village of Perni, cutting the journey to a few hours. In 1993, a monastery school was established to provide free education, blending Buddhist teachings with modern curriculum. The monastery also hosts a traditional Tibetan clinic that produces Sowa Rigpa medicine on site. The Dr. Seuss house is hidden in Alaska and is named because of its fairy tale appearance. In fact, Dr. Seuss was a famous American children's book author with a lot of imagination. The house is about 55 meters high, and initially, the owner only wanted to build a 1- or 2-story log cabin. But he got a little carried away, and now there's somewhere between 14 and 17 floors. It eventually turned into an incredibly beautiful fairy tale house. Straight out of a fairy tale, the tiny Swallow's Nest Castle perches dramatically atop a cliff overlooking the Black Sea. With its Gothic spires and stunning location, it's one of Crimea's most iconic sites. The castle sits on the 131 feet or 40-meter high Aurora Cliff near Cape Itador, close to the resort town of Gaspra. Built between 1911 and 1912 for German oil baron Baron Pavel von Steingl, it was designed by architect Leonid Sherwood in the neo-Gothic style. Although only 66 by 33 feet or 20 by 10 meters in size, its sharp silhouette gives it a grand presence, reminiscent of the castles along Germany's Rhine River. The original wooden Castle of Love once stood here before. It was replaced with the current stone structure. After the Russian Revolution, the site fell into disrepair, and a powerful 1927 earthquake caused cracks in the cliff. Restoration and cliff stabilization began in the 1970s, and the castle has since reopened to the public as a restaurant, museum, and stunning viewpoint that appears to defy gravity.
A tiny house in the middle of a lava flow may sound a little crazy, but it's a real place you can find on the big island of Hawaii. Are you looking for a unique place to live? Living near a volcano may not sound like the best choice. However, the house was built by a couple who used local building materials from the nearby jungle. The lava flow occurred about 30 years ago. Although the house is surrounded by natural beauty, you probably wouldn't want to live there. The interior is small but functional, with a sleeping loft, a compact kitchen, and a compositing toilet, and an outdoor shower. But as you might have guessed, this house doesn't come without its dangers. There's a possibility that the lava flow could change course and inundate the house. This unique location may have blinded the couple to the potential hazards of living in an active volcano landscape. Would you want to live here? Let me know in the comments.
If you feel like getting in touch with nature, then the Free Spirit Spheres treehouse close to Vancouver in Canada will help you do just that. The spherical treehouses are specifically made for people to spend a night or more in, so that you can enjoy the magical atmosphere of the forest. You won't find such houses anywhere else on the planet. In fact, the company, Free Spirit Realms, is the only manufacturer that builds this kind of spherical treehouse. Perched on a steep rock ledge in the Swabian Alps near the village of Honau, the storybook Liechtenstein Castle is one of Germany's most beautiful, rising to around 2,680 feet or 817 meters above sea level. It was built on the ruins of a medieval fortress that had been destroyed and rebuilt several times since the 13th century. The original Alt Liechtenstein Castle stood about 1,640 feet or 500 meters away, but due to regional conflicts, it was destroyed twice in the 1300s and eventually abandoned. Inspired by medieval romance and Wilhelm Hauff's novel Liechtenstein, Count Wilhelm of Württemberg commissioned the current structure in the 19th century as a hunting lodge. With turrets, battlements, and a drawbridge, it's a true neo-Gothic fairy tale. Although still privately owned by the Dukes of Urach, the castle is open to the public via guided tours. The name Liechtenstein means shining stone, referring to the white limestone cliff it's built upon. The castle also offers panoramic views over the Eaches Valley and the surrounding Swabian forests, making it a favorite destination for hikers and photographers.
Habitat 67 consists of 354 stacked concrete cubes, each with its own garden terrace, located in the Canadian city of Montreal. The unique residential complex was designed by architect Mosh Safdie and was built as part of a world exhibition called Expo 67. Apart from its aesthetic appeal, Habitat 67 is also an impressive example of sustainable architecture. The apartments vary in size and layout, from 1 to 4 bedrooms. The complex is located on the banks of St. Lawrence River, offering stunning views of the city skyline and the river. Habitat 67 was originally intended as a prototype for affordable housing, but it ultimately became a symbol of innovative architectural design. In 2017, Habitat 67 celebrated its 50th anniversary and remains a popular tourist attraction and a coveted place to live. The complex has also been featured in numerous films, TV shows, and music videos, including The Spy Who Loved Me and The Apprentice. In addition, it won numerous architecture awards and has been designated as a National Historic Site in Canada.
This house is known to almost every Australian, as it's one of the most famous and popular houses in their country. The floating pole house is located 40 meters above the coastal town of Fairhaven. It has only 1 bathroom and 1 bedroom, and you have to pay about €800 to stay there once. The house is equipped with the latest modern technologies, and the view is 100% breathtaking. Just Room Enough Island lives up to its name. It is officially the smallest inhabited island in the world. Located in the St. Lawrence River near Alexandria Bay, New York, it's part of the Thousand Islands archipelago that straddles the US-Canada border. The island is only 1,000 square feet, or 310 square meters, about the size of a tennis court. It hosts a single house that nearly covers the entire island, along with a tree, a few shrubs, and 2 benches. The home's walls extend almost to the waterline, leaving virtually no room for outdoor activities. In the 1950s, the Sizeland family bought what was then known as Hub Island as a holiday retreat. To meet the legal definition of an inhabited island, they planted a tree, built a house, and ensured the land stayed above water year-round. And they succeeded. Before earning its title in 1982, Bishop Rock in England held the record until its lighthouse was automated. Since then, Just Room Enough Island has become the reigning champion of micro-islands. It's so small that the Washington Post remarked in 2010, "One misstep and you're swimming." Though privately owned and off-limits to the public, many tourists pass by to catch a glimpse of this unique little spot.
What's your dream home? Let us know in the comments. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos we've made, click one on the screen or take a look at the channel. Thanks for watching and see you next time.